name is Stacy, and I was raised to believe that whenever you made a mistake, that mistake stuck with you for life, that what was accepted, what wasn't accepted. If you were divorced, if you had a child out of wedlock, you weren't welcome to help in church, to do anything in church. I raised my kids in the same church for the first 10 years of their life, in the same church that I was raised in, and believing that that's what I was supposed to do. I married someone right out of high school and found out that he wasn't a Christian, and we had our marital problems. We ultimately split up and got back together, and through also, I'd taken my kids to church. Once they got older, they said, "Mom, we should go to church," and so we moved to Virginia, we started going to church, and I still didn't feel like I was totally accepted, totally welcome, totally what I needed to be in a Christian church. About 3 years ago, right when Lifehouse was opening, I saw a Facebook video, and my son said, "Mom, we should try out this church." And I went to the website and I looked at Pastor John's testimony, and I thought, wow, he right out says he's not perfect. And I thought, okay, I'll try Lifehouse. So for about a year, I went off and on to Lifehouse, and it just seemed, I was never one to get involved. I went to church, I did my thing on Sunday, and went home. So about a year into Lifehouse, one Friday night, they were having a night of worship. I was going through a really rough time. My daughter was going through a separation, which we all knew was probably the best thing that could happen in the situation, but it was still hard as a mother, as a grandmother, to watch your child suffer. So I went to this night of worship, and they had a call to come forward, and I went forward. And I remember I went and prayed with a leader of the church, and the leader of the church said to me, small groups are starting next week, and you should join a life group. And I really think you'd enjoy women's group. And I was like, no, I don't, that's not me. I don't do that. No, I'm good. So the Lord kept laying on my heart, you should join this group. You should join this group. So I joined the group, and I went, and I really liked it. And I thought, wow, I'm not in a place of perfect people. Everybody's imperfect altogether. And fast forward about 4 months, I started getting more involved. I was taking my grandchildren to church. My daughter ended up with an unplanned pregnancy, which people in church can't find out about this. One night when I was at Life Group and totally broken, I just let it all out. And I remember Andrea coming over to me and sharing her story with me, and I'm thinking, I am in the right place. And a couple of months went by, and leaders in the church knew, and other leaders didn't know, and to me that meant that, wow, people aren't gossiping behind my back. The spring of 2019, my granddaughter transferred from nursery to preschool, and I asked the leader of preschool, how's it going? How's she adjusting? And the leader of preschool said, well, she's adjusting good, but would you like to help in preschool? We could use some help. And I said, yeah, I guess. Well, before I guess came out of my mouth, I got an invite to serve the next Sunday in preschool. So that was, again, okay, this is out of my realm. I love kids, but I've never taught kids. I'm not a teacher. How am I going to do this? And I did, and I love it. At first it was like, oh, I have to serve. And now it's like, oh, when do I get to serve again? When do I get to see my babies? And January rolled around. I went through a really, really, really tough time, family-wise. My husband had something tragic happen at work, and I questioned, well, God, why? Why are you doing this? And in the meantime, my husband had ran into Pastor John. And my husband is a non-believer. My husband had ran into Pastor John in Starbucks, and he said, I don't know what Lifehouse is doing to my wife, but it has so changed my wife. And how do you explain that to somebody who's not a Christian? And all Pastor John said to him was, well, it's good to hear, man. And not forcing what we believed on him, just leaving that door open. And January comes around, and all this hard stuff happens. And again, a night of worship comes up, and I'll never forget, we sang, "I'm gonna see a victory," and I thought, all right, God, somehow you're gonna prove to me that this is happening for a reason. Then pandemics happened and I got furloughed and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do with my days? And life took me into, okay, I'll serve the community with the church, a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do if I wasn't furloughed. So that's my story, and God's not looking for perfect people, He's looking for willing people who will get off the bench and get in the game.